Here's this week's notes. First of all, how did it go? Did you have any questions about working with type, choosing fonts, anything like that? I'm going to take that as a no, no questions. Where is everybody else? Is it too nice out or something? It's going to rain in a couple minutes anyway. All right, then I'll tell you what, let's take a look at your assignments from last week, if there aren't any questions.
Hi, I'm here. Sorry, I'm 3 minutes late.
Go That's back. Okay.
Traffic.
All right, I'm going to share. Sid, you're going to be first. And everyone should see active?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, I had some problems with it. I tried the demo you did in class of the handwriting for the handwriting, and I think that my mask was either too small or too big. Like maybe I didn't increase the brush enough, because when you play it, you'll see that it's a little off. Like you can see parts that you're not supposed to see at some points, but like I get the gist of it. But yeah, the mask just wasn't the right size, I don't think.
Yeah, two ways to fix that. One is to change the brushstroke size, and the other one is to move the vertices.
Yes. The vertices of the mask or of the
well, you draw a curve over the letters, and you draw it with vertices. And then if you see that you're getting too much or too little, you can actually move the vertex.
Oh, okay.
Into place. And those are the two ways that you can edit it.
Okay. Yeah, I wasn't sure. But other than that, yeah, it was pretty.
Okay, and let's play. Well, I like this active part, and you know, I'm enjoying looking at it so much, and then my attention goes to the lower right, and then I like watching the active part again, and then I have to look up, look down. Yeah, I see kind of what you're talking about. The other thing, Sid, you can change what's called the hardness of the brushstroke.
Okay.
So yeah, if you make it harder, and by that I mean a more defined edge, that might help a little bit, because you're feathering out a little bit on some parts.
Yeah,
so,
right.
Ways to fix: size, move the vertices of the curve that you're drawing over the letters, and change the hardness.
Got it. Thank you.
Okay, but I like this. Classmates, what do you guys think?
I like your idea. Like the active, I think, is fun. Like I like the little puppetry thing that you're doing with it, and I think that the effects that you chose for both of them were pretty like accurate in like reflecting what they mean.
Thank you.
Did you make that active stuff in Illustrator or something?
No, that's actually a font.
Oh, wow. That's
really? I found it online. Yeah.
Okay. So it's letters with little strings, and then you just move them up and down. Oh, cool. Okay. Okay, anybody else? So the only thing that I might suggest, I like it. It's drawing me in two different directions, which I guess is the nature of active creativity. I'm distracted in the upper left, and then I look at the lower right, and then I'm back to the upper left, and then I'm back to the lower right. If you had a composition that put those two together a little bit more, I could appreciate them as a unified whole.
Okay. Yeah, I know what you're saying. I wasn't sure how to really lay it out. Like I didn't know if I wanted to make it a sentence or like just have the words there. So because I kind of needed the active in the corner because I wanted the strings to be off the screen.
Yes.
So yeah, after I put that there, I just wasn't sure where to put the second word. But yeah, I get what you're saying.
Yeah, it's just doesn't hurt it at all. It's just a suggestion for next time.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Thanks. And Chris Bowling, you're up.
Yep.
I'm liking your complementary colors,
Thank you.
along with the way it repeats and falls down and falls up. It reminds me of like a soldier, like 10 hut, like structured.
Yeah, I
Looks
was
nice.
trying to make it look like it's like the letters almost are like architecture pieces or buildings, and then they're propping up and then going down just to make it a repeat. It's fun though.
Good. If it's fun, then it's good.
Yeah.
But yeah, I like the way that this is a really good expression of the concept of structure. Everything is laid out and technical. Nice. So you've got a rotation and a vertical move, and did you apply it the same move to each of the letters?
Yeah, so what I did was I animated with ramp up, and then it would automatically like detect the spaces in between the letters.
Oh, is that an effect?
Yeah.
Okay. That's fine.
And then played with the Bezier curve to fix the timing of when they start to fall over and how fast they go up.
Okay, classmates. What do you guys think?
I pretty much agree with what everyone else said. It's a really good proof of concept and really nice colors. It's very really pleasing to look at.
Thank you.
I also think that the typeface that you picked is really complementary to the color palette, because if you maybe had like a thinner stroke at some point, it might be harder to read, but everything in this is like very easily readable because you picked a good typeface.
Yeah, I like this one, and I have this one on file just because it's called Christopher. So I was like, okay, it's a cool font, and it's my name, so might as well.
All right, very good. Hannah C.
I'm getting some serious awesome Star Trek vibes, man.
Yes.
Like Picard.
That's what I was thinking.
That's what I was aiming for, something around those lines.
Yeah, but you know, this isn't actually a Star Trek canon font. It's just got the feeling to it.
Right.
Man, I really like how I'm not sure what it is, but I see that there's a little layer of the particulates coming towards us when the letters do too, so it feels like you're going into like the stars.
Oh yeah, they are coming out.
They were supposed to like keep going, and something went wrong, and I was trying to find an issue, like a keyframe that was off, but nothing was there. And I followed a tutorial for the majority of the background, so I think I just missed a step or something, but
You're
the idea is
good. I totally
Which particle effect did you use?
I think it was just an effect. I think it was called particle or something.
Oh, okay.
I'm not sure, but it was just like expanding it, and then like the X and Y axis, and then making it come forward was something else too.
Okay.
This is a really clever idea. I like it a lot.
Thanks.
All right, Hannah, this is nice. And the font matches the outer space feel.
Thank you.
And you know, the way that you've done these particles is that they're subtle enough that when they kind of go away, we don't really, it's not a critical element.
Yeah. Gotcha.
I definitely agree with the font looking very space agey. I'm not sure if you guys saw in the discussion board where we were talking about typography and stuff. I actually had to create a type as like my final, and I named it Amethyst, and it was very like space themed. I put it in the chat, this images, so you can look at it if you want. But I was like, oh, this is really cool, like space, baby.
So where is Amethyst? Where can we find it, Veronica?
Oh, I didn't find it. I made it. It's
Oh, where can we find it though? Where can we see it?
in the discussions board where we
Oh,
talk
okay.
about, the book. I put in pictures.
Oh, great. Okay.
Don't be too harsh though, because I made it in 2019. It's been a hot minute. That was back when.
Oh my God, it's 2 years out of date.
Yep, still timeless though, space wise.
Okay. So Hannah, I'm liking your spontaneous outgoingness.
Thank you.
All right, very good. And Hannah D.
Oh, I love it. This screams Monty Python.
Yeah.
Wait, I don't know why it's so big. It should be smaller where you can see it.
Wait, who's?
I'm
who
Hannah.
says- okay, let me see if it's too big. Does that help?
No, I know, but like you're supposed to see a lot more. Like it's a lot crazier.
Let's see.
I mean, it's a lot more crazier and funnier. I mean, this kind of works too, but it's
Yeah, this works. I'm looking at the media. Oh, whoa. Okay. I'm going to pause this, and there's media information. Now, can everybody see a little pop-up box that says current media information?
Yeah.
Okay, good. I'm going to go to the codec and look at this video resolution, 4000 by 2666.
that doesn't make sense. I made it smaller than that. Maybe another file, like another image that I used. I didn't scale it correctly then.
Yeah, what I'm thinking, are you on a Mac?
No, PC.
Okay. Somehow it's outputting big, and your Adobe Media Encoder is not set to do 1980 by 1020. That's my guess. That there's something going on with Media Encoder when you render it. So, you know what you could do? Why don't you upload your your AEP project file to the same place, and then during break or lab time, I'll take a look at it and we can talk about getting everything else in there. Because I mean, it works. You've got the chaotic part going on here, and
oh my God, it's worse.
There's more.
It's a lot worse.
Don't call it worse. It's cool.
It's funny though.
Yeah. Well, it's okay. It's funny now. Let me just say one more thing. How many of you use VLC as your player? One person? Nobody else? I recommend VLC. It'll open just about any file. When you do it, go to Tools, Media Information. Codec information is the best one because it'll tell you what's the resolution of the video and I don't know, other important things. It's H.264, tells you what codec it is. But mostly I'm looking for the resolution is it wants to be 4,000 by 2666. So there's a thing, and if we make it any bigger, it just scales. It doesn't, can't make it any bigger than that. So maybe you have an enormous monitor. So
No, I
what's
don't.
on the bottom here? It looks like somebody's head.
It is. And
Oh my
there's-
God! There's a head down there, and we can't see that. Darn. Okay.
There's more than a head.
Oh God! Now I really want to see this. So
Uh,
yeah, before class is over, let's you and me have a discussion so that we can get everything in there.
Sure.
Okay.
That's great.
One more time through. There's another head there. Yes. God, I'm curious. I'm fascinated. I knew there was something else I wanted to say. I want to be able to start like a discussion of assignments. We run through all these assignments at the beginning of class. Everybody gets a chance to take a look at it and make comments. But if after class, you want to ask somebody, hey, how did you do this? Or, God, I really love that effect. It's wonderful. How can we have a showcase? So Canvas has something. Let's see, I need to switch. Canvas has something called Studio. So I'm going to switch to here. So here, Studio is somewhere. Okay, it's right here. Notice that there's Studio on the far left in gray, white on gray. And then there's Studio, which is actually in this course, regular blue links on white. And if you go here, apparently I get to have this. And if I put these in and I want to show them to you, or I want to let you go into Studio, you have to authenticate. So what I'd like everybody to do today, not necessarily right now, but today, go in, click on Studio, and let me know. Actually, do it right now. Go into Studio here and tell me what it gets, because you should have to do something. Like if you do My Library or Shared With Me or Studio Settings. Yeah, that didn't work. So I talked to the people who do Canvas, and they said, this isn't really part of Canvas. This is a third-party application that they grafted on. And so, yeah, let me know if it requires you to do something. And it could be that where it requires you is like doing My Library or Shared With Me. I tried to send people email addresses, and that didn't work. So I'm not sure how it looks on your side. Anybody trying this right now?
I can't see Studio on my screen.
Yeah, I have the same problem.
Wow. So when you don't see this, the
Yeah,
one
not
down
that
here.
one. We see the one in the gray box.
Man, because I have these. This is a collection. This is from a different section. Okay, back to the drawing board. What happens if you click on this Studio?
It says
You
that you
get
can
your
add
library?
videos.
Sorry?
It says that you can add videos and make, I think it's for like personal collections of like your own work.
Yeah.
I've used it to have to like upload stuff for class before.
And did you upload from this version of Studio, the one on the left or the one on the right?
The one on the left.
Okay. Then I'll tell you what, upload and share media and share it with me. And then, we'll go from there. I don't want to take any more time out of class right now, but this is something like an extra feature, and it's not really designed to do this. So Let's take this offline. If anybody wants to help me out, send me an email. We can open up a dialogue and try to come up with something for this. Okay? Okay?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, back to only a small part. Obstructed view of Hannah's. Well, it is chaotic, but there's so much more. There's so much more chaos. We'll see it again. Okay. And Sam. Sam, you should give us more time to read the whole thing when Carefree sits. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I'm fascinated with this, and then it's coming down, and I want to. Oh, it just went away.
Got it.
And then, as a matter of punctuation, I might say that the comma should be part of tired. And then, but carefree would be other parts. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I just kind of wanted to stick to like the expressiveness of the tired, and I thought I like played around with it a little bit, having it there, but I didn't like how it looked. So
no, but I like the way that it's bottom heavy. It's like when you're tired, everything kind of collapses.
Yeah.
Okay, classmates, what do you guys think?
I like the squish of tired, like it settles into place, and it's like, and it just kind of. Yeah. I like the little detail with it.
Yeah, the font for tired fits really well with the like action you're giving it, like squishing down. The fact that the letters are all like thick at the bottom, it just works really well.
And then it just gently floats on, but then you take it. All you need to do is like hold an extra second or two.
Okay, I'll add that in for the second submission.
Okay. Nice. Anybody else? That's good, Sam.
It's super weird, but that the color scheme and some of the font totally reminded me of like a shirt from the late 90s, early 2000s. I'm not sure if anyone else gets that vibe. Like the text from I'm, comma, and but, and like this color palette, like total early 2000s, late 90s.
I mean, the one font on the bottom is the Glee font, so or close to.
Oh, okay.
Well, you got stuff from all times, and then the tired reminds me of that 70s show font.
Yeah.
They're totally cool though.
Yeah. Yeah. Cool. All right. And Greg. So I like the way you made a little space and then you fill it up. And then how did you wipe that that glint across the word dazzling? Was that? Sorry?
It was like a solid effect, like it's a solid object. And then it was like this weird masking thing. I don't know. There's tons of tutorials on it.
Okay. And what effect is on the stars?
It's a wiggle path.
Okay. And did you put the rotation in, or is that part of the effect?
I altered the opacity and the rotation myself.
Okay. Nice. Classmates, what do you guys think?
That like sheen, you give it like the shine. I think that's a really nice touch. And maybe it's like to me, maybe it's like a little too subtle or something, but you can definitely see it. It's just like a little, I don't know, a little difficult too, but I love that effect. Great.
You know, that's an interesting point, Jesse. If this were going to be shown once, then I would say, yeah, maybe a little too subtle, maybe pump it up. But if this is something that's going to be the opener for a show that's on every week, or something that people are going to see often, that's the right degree of subtlety. Bless you, Hannah. Okay. Anybody else? Very good. And Oliver.
Yes, hopefully it works. Okay, good.
Oh.
So yeah, I
Yes,
had
nice
I did the
neon effect.
yeah, I did the writing effect we did in class, and then I used the Saber plugin that I think somebody used
Oh.
it last week. And
That
I was
was
like,
Jake, yeah.
yeah. I was like, I kind of, yeah. I was like, I want to check it out. So that's what I use for that.
Hey, as long as you're checking out effects, there is an effects package by a company called Red Giant. I don't know if anybody's ever heard of that, but those are some effects that I've used a lot. I've always made my clients pay for it. However, they're running some kind of a deal for students that you can get a 6-month license for $2.99 for a whole big package of effects. So I would recommend that you check that out. And the company name is I think it's redgiant.com. And if
Ooh,
you're
that sounds
interested,
cool.
you want to ask about it, send me an email. All right. That's good.
I wanted to try and mimic the kind of flicker that some like older neon signs have.
Yes, right before they break.
Yeah.
So is that flickering opacity? Is
Yes.
that something that's built into Saber, or is that something that you did on just the regular layer?
Yeah, I just did it to the layer itself.
Okay.
Yeah,
that's good.
and then I duplicated the layer with the text layer without the Saber effect underneath it, so there was still like, I guess like the dark or like the
yeah
what it looks like when it's off, I guess.
Right. Okay. Classmates?
I love how the flickering effect looks. It looks awesome.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, the glow looks really good on the text.
Yeah, the Saber plugin is great. I don't know how I would have done it without it.
I like the fonts that you used. It works really well with the words you chose.
Thank you.
Okay, very cool. Veronica, your turn. Yeah, I just love the way that well-rounded moves through. And then for patient, I like the way that you really space those out. I'm thinking I would like to see some expression of patience, maybe by increasing the tracking between letters as they're
Yeah, I
moving.
thought about doing that. I actually spaced out the leading so that far apart, and then I made sure that it dipped in really slow and it dipped out really slow.
Yeah, yeah.
And I chose those two colors because it's all about me, and I love those. And I went with the well-rounded, like more of a script font because it's like kind of, I feel like that's like my showy side. Like, hey, I can do a little bit of everything. But really, what's solid about me is that I'm very patient. And because I'm very patient, I can learn all these skills, and that's why I'm well-rounded.
Good. Well, first, I love the colors. I mean, your palette is very nice, very restful pastels. And I like the way that they are like two saturated versions of the top and the bottom. Well-rounded.
Yeah, that was purposeful. I liked it, the eye picker tool, and I was like, let's just make this a little more saturated.
Yeah, that works.
Thank you.
Okay, classmates.
I really like the color you use. The gradient in the back, I feel like patient is like a calm word, and I feel like the gradient in the back is just very like peaceful and adds a nice touch to the composition.
Thank you.
Anybody else? You know, there's some fancy mathematical word for the path that a point takes as it's moving and being rotated, like on the outside of a radius. Like something, for example. But that's what that's making me think that. Yeah, I like that. And each time the well-rounded comes in, and it's like it's traveling, and it's rotating like a wheel on the an imaginary plane as it's moving, like a tire.
What I did was this was like kind of a modge podge of like, I feel like everything I've learned so far, because I had a background, and then I worked on the fonts, and then the well-rounded. It's actually it's words on a circle path.
Yeah.
And then I took the circle path, and then I moved it across the screen. And then patient, I used different opacity levels, and then I used the graph curve to make it fade in and make it fade out very slowly. So I feel like this was a good exercise because it had like a little bit of everything. It's not super showy, but it's all right.
That's nice. Yeah, very nice. I like it.
Thank you.
Okay, anybody else? And all right, Andy?
Yes.
Andy O'Connor? Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Andy O. Andy, I love this high contrast thing that you're doing with the landscape, and actually the whole thing, the monochromatic
Thank you.
treatment is really nice. So did you do, is that like a snow particle effect, or is that a particle effect that has a Y dimension?
So there's this preset in After Effects just called Snowfall.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and I just applied that twice, one in the background and one in the front.
Cool. Oh, it's so chill. All right, classmates.
I really like your sense of contrast, because even though it's quote unquote just black and white, it's not a bad thing about it. Like, it's something you're showcasing, utilizing, and like making it the pow aspect, you know?
Yeah.
I really like the fact that you have a little landscape at the bottom. It really gives the chill word a good sense of scale, and the way it just kind of like floats down like snow would. It's very nice and seasonal and snowy.
Thank you. Yeah, the landscape itself is actually also text. It's just web dings.
So why'd you put a bus coming towards us?
So I was just messing around with the font, the Webdings font, and they had a bus,
Uh-huh.
and I was like, "That's cool. I'm gonna just add it."
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay. Anybody else? Very good, Andy. I like it.
Thank you.
Stephen. Whoa. Ooh. Stephen, that flashing is really kind of painful.
I'm so sorry. It is painful watching it. I don't know why it wasn't earlier. But
Yeah.
it definitely hurts my eyes right now.
Yeah, and I gotta
Sorry.
I gotta warn you, that is something you should not do, because it's possible to trigger epileptic seizures for people with epilepsy with flashing
Yeah.
lights like that.
Yeah. I just didn't know to what extent. I know that flashing lights can do that. I just didn't know to what extent it was.
Yeah.
Um,
So I like the idea of all those different fonts to express eccentricity. It was hard for me to read, well, because it was flashing. It was hard for me to read that dictionary definition. My suggestion to you is drop the flashing element and think of another way that you can express that.
Okay.
You know, because I remember there was some reporter who posted on his newspaper's website and had a reputation, and there was some group that really got angry with him, and they found out that he had epilepsy. So they sent a file via email, and when he opened it, it was just some image that took over his monitor, and hacked his monitor, and flickered really fast, and it did trigger an epileptic seizure for him.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
so mean.
So,
oh my god.
So there, yeah, that's something. It's good to experiment. Now that you've experimented,
For
never
sure.
do it again.
You're right. Yeah, I apologize. I did
That's
not know.
okay. All right, but I like the idea behind it underneath the flashing.
Okay.
Okay, classmates.
I like the idea. I feel like it's a little hard to focus on one bit at a time if we're not watching it like over and over. Like, yeah, pretty much that. It's a little fast, I guess.
I like
But
the oh, sorry, go ahead.
Oh, that's it. That's it. We're good.
Oh, I was just gonna say I like the inclusion of the like definition, like the screenshot of the Google definition. That was creative.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, thank you. Thank you.
Okay, good. And Jennifer. Oh. I like the feel. I like the slowness of it. But the only thing that, oh, where's my payoff? At the end, I would like to see patients sitting on these snowbanks. And just let it sit, but then it goes away. How come you let it go away?
I like originally had it just sitting there, and then I kind of liked the idea of it like building up to something, and then it just kind of is like, just kidding.
Okay. Yeah, but I feel like you need to reward your audience for having patience. You have had patience. Patience is a good thing, but sometimes it's not. You don't get what you want out of it.
Jennifer, I love the colors that you're using. It's so you.
Thank you.
Very cute and calming.
I think it just does a really good job of like fitting the word. Like I'm like, oh, I do have to be patient here.
And it does have a very restful, relaxing, patient move. Okay, anybody else? Out. All right, very good, Jennifer. Jack. Oh. Jack, I really like this. Jack, let's see. Jack, are you here with us right now? Jack does not seem to be with us. All right, here's my take. Again, I'm looking for, I'm looking at this and I say, well, what word is satisfaction or a sit? Oh, that is so nice. And then it goes away. I feel like, think about your audience that has never seen this before. And they're wondering, what's this about? And and then it's gone. Give us a second or two to think, oh, it's assisting. That is so nice. Yeah, don't feel like when you finished the move that the movie is over. Work with your audience. Let them appreciate what you've just done. Let it sink in. You've worked on this for hours, and you've watched it 60, 100 times, and you think, oh yeah, they'll get it. No, this is the first time. Sometimes you have to like convene your own focus group and say, hey, roommate, friend, whoever, take a look at this and tell me what you think. And they might say, hey, it's over too soon. I want to appreciate it. Okay, that's my take. Anybody else?
The first thing that I heard in my head when I saw this was bum 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 bum, Law and Order, like instantaneously. And then when it said assisting, I was really confused because I was like, oh, assisting. It's cool though. I like how when the G falls, the second S is all like, oh, I'm gonna go help.
Yes. Help the one who's fallen. Okay. All right, Jack, wherever you are, nice job. Danny. No. That font really works well with, as a write-on for a brushstroke. However, one thing that you have to look at is that you're revealing, like at the letter R. Let's see if I can pause it. Of course I can't. Let's see if I can bring it back. Now, right there, you got a problem because you've revealed this part of the vertical stroke. And then when you come back and bring it in, well, we've already seen part of that. So in that case, what you might want to do is break this letter into two parts. Go in and block out where the vertical is on the part of the stroke where it's the loop, and then coming across with with that downstroke. You see, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I was struggling a bit with that, but I kind of like the way that it like kind of erratically like revealed itself.
Yeah, it's the letter. You know what what you're revealing is just the underlying artwork. It could be a letter, it could be anything else. You could use this technique for doing graffiti on a brick wall in a movie. Not that you'd ever do graffiti on a brick wall in real life, but it would be necessary to take this as a letter and rasterize it, and then, or like go in and take the vertical part out and take white and paint out these parts, and then have a second one that would be superimposed over it, and that would be just the vertical stroke. But that's like Olympic level, varsity level write on. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, but I like the way that this looks. And the little heart down at the bottom, that's very nice. Yeah, so this particular font is, it's so right for a write-on because it's a brush stroke, but then it has all these little hidden issues. But good job.
Thank you.
Okay, classmates, what do you guys think?
I don't know why, but I particularly like how like the little, if that's like an arrow in the heart, I like how that's revealed. I think it's like a nice touch at the end.
It's nice, Danny. Good job. Anybody else? Okay. And Riley. Oh.
I don't think I did a perfect job with the doing the writing thing. But mentioning that you could like do the mask and kind of separate the letter, I think helped.
Yeah. No, but I think it's good. I like what you did with the color choices, that it's kind of the contrast isn't that high, and then you bring in the drop shadow. That's really good. And then what is that vertical, those like vertical blinds?
Yeah, it's like a Venetian blind effect.
What is that called? Venetian?
Yeah, Venetian blinds.
Oh, okay.
I was just messing around with I haven't done
yeah.
so
Sure. You know, I don't see any problem with the brushstroke. Now, one thing that I might suggest, two things that I might suggest. One is bring the L closer to the O with tracking. And the other thing is, just from a typographical standpoint, all uppercase in a brush script isn't as effective as upper and lowercase. Okay. However, I love the concept that it does kind of fade into, or the contrast is not that great, and then you bring on this drop shadow. That's really cool. Classmates.
I really like the colors. It kind of reminds me of like GTA Vice City type vibes.
it's definitely based on Miami Vice, so you got the right vibe.
Excellent.
Oh my God, that show was from the 80s. You guys watch that?
I just like the aesthetic.
Okay.
What show? I didn't hear.
Miami Vice.
Oh yeah. I was gonna say that or Golden Girls.
Yeah, it kind of looks like the
My friend.
kind of looks like the Miami Heat city jersey. Like
Totally
it's the
does,
same exact colors.
Oh yeah. But how do you know about Miami Vice? I thought that was like in the dustbin of history.
You know, I my word should have been secretly an old person.
Oh.
Same. When I was in junior high, I'd have to wake up really early because I lived far away. So at 4 in the morning, I Love Lucy would play, and I'd watch the Ricky Ricardo show.
Wow.
With Lucille Ball.
Oh yeah.
And then afterwards, if I was lucky, it'd be the Golden Girls.
Did you ever see the one where Lucy and Ethel are on the chocolate factory line, and the assembly line, and it goes faster and faster?
Yeah,
and
it goes faster and faster, and they freak out. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a classic. Okay, we can talk old TV shows some other time. All right, I like this. Very good, Riley. Andrew.
I love how you make us anticipate the dash and the A. I was like, when is it coming? When is it
Yeah,
coming?
yeah.
Right at the A, or the last part. Good job.
Thank you. I kind of had trouble using this font overall because like it's just really big, and you know, like I wanted the brush strokes to like make sense, you know, so like you wouldn't see half of the A, I guess crossbars the line. So some of the edges are a little blurry, and I wasn't too sure how to like deal with that other than just using a different font.
Well, you know, I guess the way you could do is it's the hardness of the brush when you do that stroke that you can, you know, it's like it's feathering a little bit, but I don't see that as a problem with this kind of font, not at all.
Okay.
Now, one thing that I do find interesting, I mean, everybody has a different way of writing. And when I make an I and the vertical of an R, I go to the top and I come down, and you go from the bottom up. And the other thing, somebody else did one that was upper and lower case. And when I do that, I write the word And then I go back and dot the I's and cross the T's and do that kind of thing. So, but when I do an uppercase letter, I finish it before I go on to the next one. So this was an interesting exercise in suspense. Is he gonna complete that A? So yeah, I like that.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, classmates, anybody else? Good. All right, Andrew, very nice. Jesse.
Thank you.
Oh, I really like this. I like the colors. I like the way that your really bold outline, well, not outline, but just the silhouette is in front. And oh God, what this reminds me of something like when you can keep your head when all about you are losing theirs, you're a better man than me, or something like that. I'm just thinking of the line from the poem. Yeah. Nice. So is that a mudra for focus?
Oh, I don't know. I was
Just
just
say
thinking
yes.
like, yes, 100%.
Okay,
without a
so
doubt.
like the Buddhist, well, you know, there are real specific hand gestures in Buddhism. They're called mudras, and those are supposed to be things that help you meditate.
Oh, okay. I did not know that. Good to know.
Okay, classmates?
I like that even though it's simple like vector art, you can tell like exactly who it's supposed to be. Like it's got like your hair and like your cowlicks. The only other thing you could do is like maybe glasses, but like you don't need them. Like you're not born
Yeah.
with them.
I thought about that. It was either the circles or like squares, but I kind of liked how circles looked more.
Yeah, circles look more like eyes. Squares probably look like you're like really like tired or something. This looks
Yeah.
like you're like opening your third eye. You're like, whoa.
Oh, a third eye would have been cool too. That's a good idea.
Oh, okay, no, I mean, you got till midnight. You can just.
That's true. Thank you.
Jesse, the vector art of the hand and the face. Did you draw that or did you find it?
Oh, I drew them with the hands. I just like I tried taking a bunch of pictures of my hand. I'm like, wow, this isn't gonna work. And then I just like found some screenshot from Google and like pretty much traced it. But the head I did on my own, yeah.
Okay, very nice. All right. Cool. Anybody else? Good job, Jesse.
Thank you.
Yanni. I got nervous there with the FU part.
Is it bad that when I saw the silent creeping over from the side, my first thought was silent but deadly? Or is it worse that when it says silent but funny, it makes me think of like a silent fart? I know that's absolutely terrible and childish of me, but you know, like they would laugh.
There's no place for fart jokes in motion graphics.
But
Insert
ignore my
fart
flash.
sound here.
Really cool design. Well done.
Yeah. I thought when I saw that, I was thinking, oh, Buster Keaton, Charlie Chaplin. Is that what you were thinking about, Yanni?
Yeah.
I like it right there. That right on the N and the right part of the second N and the left part of the Y. When the words come in, it's like they hit a bump. They're smooth and then pop, 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 pop. You know, that reminds me of something, of course. Everything reminds me of something. Anybody, first of all, anybody who are fans of the Coen brothers? Everybody knows who the Coen brothers are? Fargo, Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? Many, many,
Yes.
many movies. Anyway, their first movie was called Blood Simple, and it was a like a small town film noir. There's like a theft and bad guys and good guys and all that. And there's a scene that takes place in a bar, and it's like it's a dive bar, and there's actually somebody who's asleep on the bar, you know, like this. His head is down, and the Coen brothers had the camera pan along, and then when it got to the guy who's asleep, it raises up and it comes back down and it keeps going. And it was just hilarious. You know, it's a kind of clever thing that draws attention to itself. The camera usually should not draw attention to themselves, but in this case, it did. It was hilarious. You know, just the camera move got a big laugh in the audience that I was in. So, Blood Simple, first Coen Brothers movie. Start with Fargo. Okay, Yanni, I like this. It's good.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Okay, and read. Whoa. Wow. So much to like about this. I like the way that when it just gets into the right place, you lock in and you raise the opacity of the background. It's kind of vignetting here, dark on the edges and light, and boom. And then you break it apart.
Thank you. Yeah, I had like a vignette on it, and I just
Okay.
keyframed it like towards the end there, like to make it just pretty much get rid of the vignette and get that effect.
And actually, do you have two instances of the word precise that when they hit and they break, one to the left and one to the right?
Yeah, that's what.
Did you break the word? You know, it happens so fast, and it's really effective. The only reason why I noticed it is I'm saying, huh, did he break the word, or did he have two instances of it? And the thing is that having two instances of it keeps it going and makes it more effective, because that's like what, 3 frames, 4 frames at most
when it breaks,
when it's hit.
Yeah, I think it's like 5 I had about.
Okay.
Actually, yeah, it was somewhere around that, like 3 to 5.
Yeah. Cool. Classmates?
I really like the motion with the crosshairs. Cool.
Yeah, I was
Thank
gonna
you.
say I like how it just breaks apart. Looks
Nice.
really clean.
That's good, Reed.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. I'm really pleased with your work, everybody. This is really good stuff. So let's take a break. I've got like about 4:37. Let's come back at 4:47. So a couple minutes past 4:45. How does that sound?
Sounds good.
All right. See you guys in a couple minutes. So turn your cameras on, or at least give me a thumbs up icon, emoji thing. All right. Good, good. Okay, let's take a look here. This is what we want to do today. 4 things. Answer questions about type. Talk about masks and mats in After Effects. Look at the work of Oscar Fischinger. And there's going to be a quiz next week. Oh no. So let's see. First, type. Any questions? Anything that you want to know about type? Font choices, getting fonts. There are so many free fonts out there. There's just no reason why you'd want to download a font and that's not legal and use it. And you can find something that's next to identical. And especially if you're doing corporate work, they don't like it if you expose them to any kind of risk like that. So Google Fonts, I think, is a good one. You can find just about anything on there. Something they're not going to have Helvetica. They're not going to have Baskerville, Goody, or something like that. They will have something that's really close. If there aren't any other questions, let's go into color. Oh yes, question.
More like a comment. I didn't want to interrupt, but there was a page in the book. I think I wrote it also in the discussion where it said where you could get free fonts online.
Oh yeah.
And you can also turn your handwriting into a font, most times for free or little cost.
Mm-hmm.
Which is super cool if you want it to be like unique.
Good idea. All right. Color. So first of all, yes, we're heading back into the book, Design Essentials for the Motion Media Artist. And you want to develop a sensitivity for how your color choices affect your message. What does color mean, and color harmonies? So now there are 2, what do we call them, color spaces, subtractive and additive. You might be used to subtractive, where you start with white and then you take color away. That's often red, yellow, and blue as your primaries. We work in additive in digital media, and that's adding color light to black. So you start with black and you just start adding red, green, or blue. Color schemes, monochromatic, analogous, and complementary. So monochromatic just means that you have the same hue, but you might have different saturation or different value. Saturation, the amount of color, value, light and dark. So here are analogous colors, colors that are next to each other on the color wheel. So you can see that red has kind of like a reddish orange and a reddish blue on either side here, and then red, violet. So these are analogous colors. Those are next to each other. Complementaries, those are the ones that are on opposite ends. So yellow and violet, yellow and blue work well together. Those, if you've got 3 that are 120 degrees apart on the color wheel, those are called triads. Limiting your color palette, especially when you work in the corporate world. An art director will prepare a palette for you, and then you are pretty much restricted, especially if you're doing graphic work, to those colors. They'll give you usually 3 primaries and maybe 3 or 4 secondaries. So these are 2 pages of a corporate standards document, 51 pages, and these are the colors. So in this case, the primary is navy, and then there's the signature blue, and then a lighter blue. The secondaries, coral, green, and purple. And notice that they give these colors in hex, RGB, CMYK, and PMS. PMS being Pantone matching colors. So the hex, well, we'll wait on that. Anyway, so here's UX, user experience colors when you're making up a web page. These are the colors they want you to restrict to. Not any gray, this particular gray for 1 through 9 and black. So I'm going to assume everybody's used the color picker before. Yes? Likely? Yeah. Now, the thing is, here's the color picker, and you've got H, S, and B. H is hue, and that is here. You can grab here and bring it up, and it goes from red to red. So red, yellow, green, blue, indigo, violet, and then back to red. Saturation is how much color there is between a monochrome, 0, and full color is 100. The brightness is light versus dark. Now, why do they call it B? I don't know. Because every place else I've seen it, V is for value, and it'll be HSV, just so that you know HSV and HSB in this particular case are the same. RGB is values between 0 and 255. Why 255? That is 2 to the 8th. And the way the computers work, they love it when you are working with powers of 2. So good old 8-bit color would be when they were restricted to 256 total colors. And it would be 8 different values of red, 8 values of green, 8 values of blue. That would be RGB. Now, the one where you can plug in a number after the pound sign is color in base 16 hexadecimal. And that goes from 0 to 9, and then A, B, C, D, E, F. That's base 16. And that's another thing that the computer really likes. When you see something like that, the first 2 are red, the second 2 are green, the last 2 are blue. So you're going to express those in red, green, blue, like 0, 0, 0, 0, FF. That would be complete saturated blue. All right. Anybody do web coding, HTML? You're probably familiar with the system already. And you don't need to use it in After Effects, but sometimes, as in this example, they will give you those colors in hexadecimal, and you've got to plug those in or figure out what that means. FF is going to be saturated in that particular one, red, green, and blue. 0, none. Now, color correction effects. Here's something. Let's see. Do I have? I'm going to start up After Effects in the background here. As an example, first of all, there are all sorts of color change, color correction effects that are available to you. And these can be real lifesavers. I had a client who changed their graphic identity, including the palette, changed all their colors, and then they decided, well, we've got all these old digital animation assets, and we need to have them updated. And I said, okay, fine. Just send me the After Effects files, whatever files that were used to create this. And then they said, well, the original studio won't give those up. Uh-oh. So I had to figure something out. Now, the beauty of this is that if you don't have the original, like here, I'm going to go to After Effects now. Okay, you should be able to see After Effects. New composition. So if I'm making a rectangle and it's going to be red, okay, this is great. I have a red rectangle. And now you tell me that it's changed colors? Fine. I can go, oh, here's the fill, and I can make it yellow. Nothing to it, right? Okay, well, what if you have a piece of art that, and let's change, get ourselves a new shape layer. Here's a new one. Okay. And this, rather than being something like, what I wound up doing was I took these MP4 movies and I brought them into After Effects. And what After Effects gives you under color correction, one of the ones, and this is the one that I use, change color. Grab it, drop it down. Now here are the parameters that you have. You can transform hue, lightness, and saturation, but this is most important of all, the color to change. So if I started working on this, changing the hue, lightness, and saturation, I'd be out of luck because it's trying to find blue. There isn't any blue. Okay, how about if you try to find red? And now my hue transformation, oh, let me go through here. How about this for yellow? What about lightness? Well, no need to change lightness. Saturation, it's already saturated. Now it's gray. All right. So what's great about this is that you can go in and even if you don't have the source files, you can change colors. And this was a huge lifesaver for me. Go back to the notes. Okay, Adobe color theme. You can make your own color themes out of this. This is something that you might not have noticed. Back we go to After Effects. And this one isn't an effect, it's a window. And you look here for windows, now you're going to try to come down. No, it's actually an extension. And you go to Adobe Color Themes under Extensions. And you get this really awesome thing, except I really don't understand why they messed up on the size of this when it comes up. So behold, now you can open it full. That's I guess that's as big as it gets. There we go. And what helps with this is, you know, oh, here's purple. Well, you know, I can go around. What goes with yellow? This orange does, apparently. Red with green. And you can play around with these, explore, creating your own color themes. Save them as your own. Let's go back to create. And let's see on the wheel. There we go. Here's the color rules. So you get analogous, monochromatic. So this is where you get all the ones in one color. Complementary, compound, shades, custom. Oh, here's the triad. So this kind of gives you a primary effect. This one's useful too. Play with it. This is something where if you're creating your own palette, this is where you want to go. Okay. LinkedIn Learning, yes. I like this one, The Introduction to Graphic Design with Tony Harmer. There are 4 worthwhile movies, and you know, these are really short. They're about, you know, 3 minutes. Especially color harmonies and color associations. How well do colors work together? And one thing, if you has anybody done any print work? No? All right. Print. Has anybody done print work?
Yeah.
Oh, good.
I actually work at a print shop.
Okay. Then you know what CMYK is. We are working digitally, and our color system is red, green, blue. People who work in a print shop, you know that CMYK stands for cyan, magenta, yellow, and black. So the K, you're thinking to yourself, what color begins with K? No, blue already got the B. So K is the one that stands for black. And this is how you mix colors for print. And if somebody tells you print is going away, it's not true. Okay, any questions about color? Nope. All right. So the usual book assignment, read the chapter on color, post an original thought, and then come back, see if anybody has posted another one, and then post your respectful, positive, and you can be positive and still disagree with someone, okay? Politeness and respect are the important elements. Put those in, and then we'll go from there, okay? And where are we going? Mats. Mats are invisible layers that affect the layer below it. So you've got a layer, an image, something like that, and you want to draw it on, do some kind of split screen effect, like the way that Pablo Ferro did with the Thomas Crown Affair split screen work that we saw last week. Matting is the way to do it. But you have to remember, when you do a mat, it wants to use the picture wants to use the layer above it for the matting information, okay? And you might have something where I want to have this picture here, and I want to have the picture here, I want to have the picture here, I want to just use the one layer and have 3 different mats apply to it. Sorry. No, you have to just keep bringing it in. All right, at this point, back to After Effects. Okay, I've got a couple of different files in there, and one of them is Masking 101. So I'm going to open that. Okay, so what happens here is a word comes in and it transforms in mid-sentence and it goes out like so. And I'm showing you this because there are 4 different ways of matting. Every image is made up of RGB color information plus an alpha channel. And the alpha channel is for opacity, show and hide. So what I've got, I'm going to take out the word goodbye, and I'm going to show you the mat where I use, which I use to hide the word hello. Okay, so here's the word hello, and now here are the track mats. Here's a trick. This is the way you usually see it, with the icons for motion blur, 3D, etc. and so forth. And you're saying to yourself, where's the track mat? You have to come down to toggle, switches, and modes. And you get more information. Like this for modes, this is going to be applied normal. If you have used Photoshop, then you recognize, oh, here's normal, here's darken, multiply, add, lighten, screen, overlay, soft and hard light, difference, etc. and so forth. These are the same kind of modes of display that you get in Photoshop. But we're just going to deal with normal. Now the other part here is you have no track mat, or you have alpha mat, alpha inverted mat, luma mat, and luma inverted mat. Alpha mat and alpha inverted mat are opposites. One will show, one will hide. In this case, the alpha inverted mat will hide. And when you, like, I got everything on here right now. All of these things are visible. But when you choose like this, no track mat and no track mat, and I do this, well, first of all, there's all these letters and then they come over here and they get wiped out. So I have to go in and I have to make some choices. First of all, what about this goodbye? Well, I wanted to show it, and this, here is royal blue solid. I just picked a solid and I dropped it in, okay? And turn those off. All I have here is the word hello, and it cuts all the way across. Now I turn on my shape layer here, and I just drew a rectangle. You can do a solid, you can do a rectangle, you can do a circle, you can do whatever you want. And it hides it behind. But that's not good. Why do I have this big green block? I don't want that. So I'm going to choose that hello will be subject to an alpha inverted mat. And remember, inverted mat hides. And it goes invisible. Now when my word hello comes out, I can see it. Now I don't. Let's look at goodbye. Goes all the way across. But if I turn on this royal blue solid and say, okay, I want to alpha mat the royal blue solid, it will reveal. And it makes it invisible. I take it on faith that my word is there, and yes, it is. Okay, so there's the difference between a mat and an inverted mat. Hide versus reveal. When I turn all of these, well, actually, I'm just going to turn on my words. And it changes from hello to goodbye and goes out. Questions? So that's with alpha. And alpha has this transparency channel. The other one is luma, and that creates the mat based on the luminance. Okay, now you can get the same effect either like doing a white rectangle or something like that, but when you have color information and when you have different layers, or I shouldn't say layers, when you have different degrees of luminance in an image, it'll start bringing those in the luminant area, either hide or reveal. Okay, now I have to admit, I usually just do alpha, but you can experiment with luma as well. Our questions so far. Some of you have already made mats, used mats, so that's all good. So you can make a solid, you can create a shape, make a solid layer. We saw the file masking 101, and that's the hello goodbye. Here's the alpha channel, the color component. Now you can have RGB, but usually objects will have that alpha channel. It'll be referred to as RGBA. And the luma mat makes the mat using the luminance of the layer. So here's mat and inverted mat hides, regular mat reveals. And the mask has to be the layer above. Just a few simple rules. Okay, now here are some other ones that I think are useful. After Effects Essential Training on Motion Graphics with our friend Alan Demopoulos. Chapter 3, Working with Compositing. There are 5 or 6. The ones that you should look at are Create and Animate Masks and Use Track Mats. Also, here's a one on basic masking from Shutterstock. Haha, this guy is wearing a Batman mask. Get it? Basic masking. So this guy is really goofy, but has good information for you. You might get a chuckle out of it. So what I'd like you to do now is just download an image and play around with it a little bit. Have some fun. And do that for about 10 minutes. And then let's, we'll regroup after 10 minutes. And then we'll look and take a look at what you, if there are any questions. Otherwise, I'll show you a couple of examples. All right, so go ahead, play with some masking. I'll be right here. Ask your questions. You don't have to raise your hand or anything like that. Just unmute yourself. I have here some pavement. And I'm going to turn off my track maps. All right. I have a garden and pavement. So what I did was I created a black strip, a black rectangle, and I brought it across. This kind of show you that, you know, for an alpha mat, it doesn't matter what color it is. It doesn't matter how bright it is. It can be any color as long as it has that alpha channel. So now I'm going to bring this across and I'm going to take my colorful, my garden image, and I'm going to use an alpha mat to reveal, like so. Okay, that can be nice. Other thing that I could do with this, maybe I could, I have a position, and maybe what I want is I could do a scale, and maybe I'll bring this across, except that I'm going to scale it. Make this smaller and key it, and maybe I will then bring it up to 100. Okay, so you can have all sorts of fun with this. Notice that I'm contrasting hard pavement, man-made, with the beautiful garden. The other thing is that you can do, yeah, it goes across and it comes off. And maybe I'll switch this. There we go. All right, now I'm going to do something else. I have created a black circle, and that comes across too. Now, to make this work, I can't just have this garden, the one garden, and have two different mats working on it. No, I had to bring this up again, and I moved it down just because I like it that way. And now I have my black circle, and this I want to reveal. So I'm going to make an alpha mat. And here's what I've got. Simple, right? Pretty easy. Now, let's say that, oh, I'm going to do something else. I'm going to bring, I think we're done with those, and I'm going to bring my garden in again. There you see the garden. I'm going to make it bigger. Let's make it real big. Get that, you know, you can grab one of these and you can make it weird and, oh, this is not what I wanted. It's not proportional. Hold down the shift key and it will jump to proportional resizing. Okay, I've got this garden and it is over my asphalt again. And this time I'm going to do something where I'm going to reveal it. What am I going to do? I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm going to have another shape layer on top. Now, with this shape layer, I'm just going to make a full-size rectangle like so. But I'm going to do a clock white, all right? And there just happens to be a set, let's see, this is under transition and let's see, radial white. So I'm going to put radial white onto this shape layer. And here's what I've got. Start up here, I could start anywhere. There's the white center, it's going to go clockwise. I want to, let's see, I need to bring the effect out, radial white, and I want to do completion here, and I want to take 3 seconds to show this. So I'm going to go from 0 to 100. And who wants to watch a big red box? No, I want to see the people, the garden revealed underneath. So now, what's revealed? Like so. So we're looking at this. Now, pay attention to how sluggishly and jumpily this happens in preview mode. All right, so it wasn't that sluggish and jumpy. The point is, the second time through, it will have fully rendered and I can trust the real time. Okay? So yet another trick to put in your arsenal of tricks. Another thing that I can show. Oh, let's say that I want to be Pablo Farrell when I grow up. So I'm going to take this shape layer, I'm going to make it small. I'm going to say no track mat. Yes, there's the garden. And I'm going to make a new shape layer. So I can put in a rectangle. And I'm going to go with this coming in. Let's say I'll come in from outside. And I'll get this part, and then I want to move it off, all right? So that means I want to do, here's shape layer 4, and I need to bring shape layer 4 down so it's right above this garden, and I'm going to say, yes, alpha mat, shape layer 4. Now my shape layer transform, I will have it do a position, and we'll give it a couple of seconds to get into position. About, we'll say here. No, I like that tree. Okay. It comes in. But you know what? One of the things that I liked about that Pablo Farrell piece was that he then took the information and brought it across. So what can I do? How can I do that? How about a null object? Okay, what is a null object? A null object is like a layer that doesn't have any picture information. It's just there as a kind of a babysitter, a placeholder, except that we can apply layers below it and then have its animation applied. So here's what I'm going to do. I've got null 1, and here's, you know, track mat. We've got all that. Over here is parent and link. So I don't need anything parenting on null 1, but these two, shape layer 4. Yes, I want that to be linked, parented to null 1. The child of null 1 will be shape layer 4. Anything that I do to null 1 gets propagated down to shape layer 4. But don't forget, I have my garden too. So I want this one to be parenting it. Now, what is null 1 going to do? Well, null 1 is going to start at this position and then the same speed go off frame. So here's what's going on. I bring this one on until I find something that I like. Oh, there's that beautiful purple tree. And then we move it off. How about that? Can I get a thumb up emoji? All right. So we're going to take another break, come back at 1:45, and I have 2 things that I want to talk about. One is your next assignment, which I think is really cool. It's kind of a real world situation. And then the other thing that I want to talk about is the work of Oscar Fischinger, a pioneer of graphic animation, motion graphics. So come on back at 1:45. So this is kind of a real world situation. You will be provided a storyboard and source files by your client. And we'll get back to this about opening the files in Photoshop. But you're a motion designer, your client is opening an Indo-African fusion restaurant. How delicious could that be? She wants a 10-second movie to use for advertising, and she supplied a storyboard and source files. These are in the file transitions with math source files.zip that you'll find in the week 5 module. Now, she likes masks, so you got to use masks to transition between the frames. Here are the frames that her storyboard artist drew. Start out with white, and then bring in the word Mendy. And then you have this red and white art, like an Indian mandala piece. And then you want to transition to this African, kind of a black and gold fabric suggestive pattern. And then the word African. And then you're out with black. Now, I have been loose in my requirements for duration for these pieces. You know, I've said a minimum amount. Well, now I want you to hit a specific duration of 10 seconds. She's buying like a 10-second spot in one of those things before the movie starts, where they run all those commercials. So it has to be 10 seconds, 1920 by 1080, H.264, MP4, you know, the usual technical specifications. Okay? And you have to bring this artwork. By the way, just real quick, don't forget the discussion on color, and there's a quiz next week. Vocabulary and concepts, small number of questions, very short answers, only covering material that I've presented in class or in the notes. And in the notes would include spotlights. Questions on that? No? Okay, now, what should you do with this? Do you want to bring the files in right away? Let's do this. Import file. And under masks, why there's transition with masks.
Professor, your screen's not showing.
Oh, how bad am I? This should be it. Okay. You should see After Effects.
Correct.
Okay, thank you. We want to import file. We want to find transition with mask, source files, transitions, layers. You're not going to see these other two. You're just going to see this one. And here's the storyboard. So let us import that. Notice here's import as footage. If I were a sensible person, I would change this to composition and import. But I'm not a sensible person. I'm excitable. And I go right through this and I import. But After Effects saves me because here is import kind composition. And it will allow me to deal with these as editable layers. Each one will be a different layer. So this is what I want. If I did this one, merge layer styles into footage, that's like doing that footage. No, this saves me by bringing these in as a composition and I say, okay. And here is the composition, but more importantly, here are the different layers. Okay, I'm going to start by bringing in white. Okay, this is, yeah, sure, it's white. Let's do view and show the rulers. And oh, this is funny. It's not like our usual one. Okay, how about this? I'm going to do, actually I'm going to, a new project. Don't say. New composition, our usual 1920 by 1080, yes. File, import the file, transition layers, and yes, it can be a composition, import. Okay. So now here are my layers, and I've got my white background. Okay, it's small. Oh, well, wait a minute. What about this fancy thing here? Well, where's the rest of it? Oh, heck. That is why I say, you are giving me Photoshop files. I'm going to look in Photoshop because I'm looking at this and I'm saying, yeah, it's okay, but I wish that I had what happens outside of it. You know, it's kind of, it seems like it's cropped. So let's go to Photoshop. And I'm opening Photoshop with that transition layers PSD. Now, I'm going to do some things here on this Photoshop file. And if I do anything that you're not comfortable with, stop me. All right. So here is transition layers. Here are all the layers, and I don't like the order. I'm going to put this Mendy design here. Does this feel cropped to you? Does this feel like, could it be possible that there's something else that I'm missing?
Are you in Photoshop right now?
Yes, and perhaps you'd like to see it. Ta-da! Okay, so now you can see Photoshop, and you're looking at that and say, is that all there is? What are you going to do? In image, you can do two things. One is change the image size, but that's just going to show me what I've already got. If, on the other hand, I do canvas size, it will expand, and I can see if there's anything that's been cropped out. Canvas size. And can you see this little pop-up? The width is 872, the height is 486. 1920 by 1080 shows me, whoa, there's a lot of stuff in there. So I'm at 100. What if I go down a little bit? And where is that? Info. No, I want the navigation. Wow. So there's a couple of little mandala patterns and some squares. How could this be? So here's what I would suggest that you do. For one thing, this white background doesn't do me a lot of good because that's the old size. Well, don't need it. I don't know what I'm going to do. However, one thing that I might want to do, well, I'm going to put a couple of, here, I'm going to get a couple of rulers right in the center. And then I'm going to try to center this. Now I've got these 7 boxes. If it were me doing this for a client, I would probably take the 7 boxes and I would do them separately as separate elements. But I'm just gonna, I'm a kind of guy in a hurry. So I'm going to use the rectangular marquee tool, and I'm going to select these, and I'm going to do Control X. Takes them out of that layer, but keeps them in the buffer. Now, Control Shift V puts them in the exact same place on another layer. So I'm going to say that this is IN-low. And you have to label these to have any success at this, because they won't give you a lot of space to be able to read a long descriptive layer when you go into After Effects. You want to make them small. Okay, maybe what I'll do now is I'll select this Mendy design where I've got 2 little mandalas, and I'm going to grab those. Here's one. And I'm going to Control X, Shift Control V, brings that one there. And by default, you make a new layer with new art. That's the layer that's selected. But I want this Mendy design again, because I'm going to grab this one. And I'm going to do Control X, Control Shift V, same place. All right. So far, so good? Yes? All right. Now, my last piece, this Mendy design, seemed kind of big. I bring it down, and yes, it is. Maybe I'll scale it. Control T to scale. Now, when I do this, the new default is hands off, and it's proportional. Used to be you have to hold down the Shift key to make proportional changes. Photoshop changed that on the last, most recent edition. So now I'm going to make this, oh, let's see. You know, that'll work. Sure. So now I want to label these. This is, I'm going to call this one IN-R. No, actually that one's L. For left. I want to label this one IN-R for the one on the right. And I'm going to say this one is IN-C for center. Okay. White background, don't need you. I'm just going to create my own. Goodbye. And I also have the word Mendy. So that gives me what I want. Oh, here's another thing. What am I going to do with this? It's kind of an interesting pattern, but what if I cut pieces out and I could then bring it in, and maybe I could rotate one part against another one? Yeah, I'm going to try that. So to do that, I want to make a ruler, and I'm going to take this circle and I'm going to take that out. Now, I could go in and point by laborious point, make a set of vertices and draw a circle that way. I don't like that. Instead, what I'm going to do is use this marquee tool, the elliptical version. And I put these rulers here because when you make the elliptical version, you start at the upper left and you come down to the lower right and drag it. And that's how you make a circle. Start in the upper left. And this one is not proportional, so I have to hit the Shift key. when I do this, and I'm going to come down and I'm going to try to just so I'm a little big on those, but you know what? That's close enough. Having gotten that, I'm going to try to get this even on the vertical, on the horizontal, I'm sorry, and then I'm going to use the arrow key to get it on the vertical. Behold. And what do I do? With it selected, I'm going to do Control X, Shift Control V, and I'm back. Okay? And you know what? It looks like I took too much, but for purposes of the demonstration, I'm going to say I nailed it perfectly. Okay? I now have, I'm going to change this one to IN ring. I like the flowers of the lotus. And then I'm going to do this one, IN-C for center. Now, how you guys doing? Is this something you can do? All right, yeah, and remember, I want you to use masks. So now let's look at this African pattern. You know, yeah, there's a black background, worthless. I'd like to line this up, but gosh, these horizontal and vertical elements are really nice. I'm going to move this circle to the center. I'm going to try to use these external elements, see what I can do to line this up. And I'm going to say, done. Okay, now with the African pattern, I'm going to use the rectangular one to take out the elements that are horizontal at the bottom, because I don't know what I'm going to do, but it's going to be cool. So I'll take these and I'll do my usual Control X to take it away, Shift Control V to bring it back on a different layer. I'm going to do the same thing up here. I want this vertical element that's really cool. Control X and Shift Control V. Don't know, I might repeat it. I don't know. I have no idea what I'm going to do with that. Now, what I really like, I like these. There are only 3 of them though. Darn. So I am now going to deal with this African pattern. I'm going to do the same trick where I cut out the center. But I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave these 3. Maybe I'll copy one and then bring it over on the other side. Maybe I'll do that. So I use the elliptical marquee tool. I'm going to be up here, upper left. I click and drag. I hold down the Shift key so I have a perfect circle. And yeah, that looks okay. I'm going to make sure that I have the pattern selected. I Control X to get rid of it. Anybody on a Mac, you will use Command X and Command Shift V in dealing with this. And boom, I've got that. So these are the elements that I really like, but gosh, those little bookends, I would probably cut these out, cut one of them out and put it in place over here, but I'll leave that to you. Okay, so now I'm going to label these A-H for A horizontal, A-V for African vertical, A-C for center. And I got the African, I don't need this background, so I'll get rid of that. I said I'll get rid of it. So I like this. This is what I want to work with, okay? Now I'm going to go File, Save As, and I don't want to overwrite this word transition layer, so I'm just going to do transition layers dash, cut up, save. Now, I'm going to minimize Photoshop, and I'm going to have After Effects. And this time I'm actually going to remember to share After Effects. Okay, we're back on After Effects. Everybody should see this, and I decide, you know, that's not right. File, new project, don't save, new composition, okay, file, import, file, transition layers cut up, composition, editable layer styles, and say okay. All right, so what have I got? I've got this composition, I got this composition, but here's the most important part. Here are all my pieces. And notice that they kind of give you an ellipsis because it's too long. Well, I don't care. Because what I'm going to do now is I start out with white. So for that, I need a new solid layer, and it needs to be white. Okay. And I want to bring in that word Mendy. That's the first element that comes in. And there it is. Gosh, it's kind of small. Maybe it'd be happier if it were a little bit bigger. That's good enough. And maybe what we want is we'll want it right about there. Sure. Everybody happy with that? This is going to be our end position. Position and scale. But where we start is going to be big and off frame, like so. So far, so good. And now, try to come up with your own solution. I'm just spitballing here, but I want you to think about it. And you've got here's the real world aspects of this. You have a client and you have to please her. She's got a designer. The designer did the storyboard and the art. And she says, yeah, I want you to do these transitions between these frames. I've bought time, 10 seconds, and I want you, you can start at the first frame, but at the end where it says African, give it a little bit, like end maybe with 10 frames, a third of a second, half a second to go to black and then go out. Because who knows, maybe what she wants to do is bring up a copyright at the bottom, something, I don't know. If she says 10 seconds, make it 10 seconds, but just give it a little bit of out time. Okay, so we got this. Now, what else have we got? I want the IN center. I'll bring that here. And yeah, that's kind of nice. What if I've got the ring? And there, I've got that. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to have one rotating in one direction, the other rotating in a different one. And I'm going to bring this in. It's going to have to do all that stuff, and it'll come to a stop right here, which means I'll probably fade out the word. So I'm going to do opacity, fading out over the course of a second, like that. And I'm going to want to play here. So here's my center, and I'm going to bring my transforms. 5 seconds. I don't want it to be too fast. I don't want it to be too slow. I'm going to say that here is my end position, and it's going to stop here. Here is my beginning position of rotation, not position. And let's say that, ooh, not too. It's 5 seconds. No, you know what? I'm going to call this 1 second. And the way that I do this is, look at this rotation. What values do I get? I get an X and a double zero for degrees. So I can do complete revolutions. I don't have to express two circles as 720 degrees. I don't have to express one complete revolution as 360. Oh, crap. Oh. Please tell me that you're all going to look at the document Spotlight on Oscar Fischinger. Okay? Yeah, because I want to do this. I want to make sure that everybody has a good experience on this assignment. So I'm going to say a -1 for this one. And as you can see, it rotates and it's off center, which is pretty hideous. Oh my God, look at that. We can't have that. So we got to change our anchor point. We got to fine tune this. Move you here. Move you. No, because it's rotated. Let's try to get this right. Otherwise, it's going to look really stupid. All right, we'll call that close enough. So when it rotates, it's going to be good. Okay, so I'm going to actually start this. The word Mendy comes in at 2 seconds. I'm going to have my start over here. Now I got to match this one, and my anchor point is 965.22. So I'll need to 965.22. Get this just right. So that if I do this one, counter, oh, nope, gotta get that to 0. Yes, here's where I want to do my rotation. 1. And over the course of this long, I'll come down to 0. And I've got that. And now they're counter rotating. Okay? But I don't want them to be blocking this. So instead, I want a new layer, a null object. This null object will allow me to do a move in without having to mess with the 2 rotations that I just very carefully did. So I am going to have the ring be a child of null and the center be a child of null. And here is null, and null, what are you going to do? You're going to wind up right here. And notice that I change my time first, and then I make my position keyframe. And now what happens to null? Null is going off frame, like so. And it's going to come in here. Okay, so now your challenge. I've got my opening, and I'm serious. I don't want anybody to do what I've done. I want you to find your own solutions. The trick is, what are we going to do with this African element? And vertical and center. Okay. Let's say I'm going to do something with this. I have to bring it in. And it's not quite matching the other one. So I want to tweak it a bit. Looks like vertical is the way to tweak. Okay, so now this one is going to be here, but I don't want it showing up until I do the next phase. So one thing that I can do is make this invisible by saying that the African element doesn't show up until now. Okay, it just popped in. We can't have that. How about a new layer, a shape layer? And what am I going to put here? I'm going to use the ellipse tool, and I'm going to make a circle. It's red. And for this one, it doesn't matter what color I make it, as long as I have good contrast. So I'm going to make it the sickly green. And I want a circle. Oh, you know what I can do? I can show my rulers. And then I can make my centers of 960, 960, 1080, yep. And 540. 960 times 2 is 1920, 540, 1080, there it is. And I just have to make a circle. Like that. Now, to work with this, I'm going to take the opacity down so I can see stuff happening here. I want it centered on all these elements. That's pretty good. Make it a little bit bigger. Okay. This is going to be my final position. And I'm going to say that it's at 10 seconds. So scale is the main thing that I'm doing here. And it'll be 2 seconds to come from, ooh, how dare you? Come all the way out here and way off. What's wrong with you? Okay, so it looks like I'm going to have to do a position. And the position, I like this position for my end because it's going to cover up the Indian elements. But I have to get it centered. So I'm going to say, yeah, you come on over here. And yeah, you got to come on down here. And you'll come up like this, and all will be well. Okay? Your opacity, restore to 100. Now, here's the African element. Here is the track mat. I'm going to do, let's see, is it inverted? No, it is not inverted. It is, silly Joe, regular mat. So, okay, so you have these strictures in time, design, artwork, but you have a lot of freedom. I personally am restricting your freedom, making you work with masks, and you can hate me for that if you want, but I want to force you to work with masks because it's a really powerful technique. Within that, you've got 10 seconds to do anything you want. Okay? Sound good?
Yeah.
I get you for 1 more minute. Oscar Fischinger. So he was really a pioneer of graphic animation. I'll let you read this about him. There's a couple of frames of his work. It's hard to get all that much of his work online because the estate keeps a real strong grasp on it. They want to sell the work, but you can find this one on Columbia College login. You can find this. This is the Vimeo showcase of some of his work. Let's see if we can get this. Has anybody ever seen Pink Floyd, The Wall, the movie? I mean, come on. If you guys...
Yeah, Pink Floyd, baby.
Yes. So if you watch Miami Vice or the Lucy Show, you must have seen this. So this is, he would do these experimental films, and to be able to fund them, he would do advertising work, like little short pieces that they show at the beginning of a movie, because this is definitely before television. This one is from like the 1934. Let's take a quick look at this one. It's like 30 seconds, just gives you a taste of it, and then I'll let you go. And there's music. I don't know if you can hear the music. Okay, so you might be thinking to yourself, oh, that wouldn't be that bad. I would just take a cylinder that I'd model in 3D and just put like, the gold tip at the end. And then I'd animate a couple of them and duplicate the animation onto all the other ones. Except that this is 1934. And he had to place these individually to create this.
That's insane.
That is insane. Okay. And on that insane note, I'll let you guys go. Please, if you have any questions, if you're not feeling good about Photoshop and all the things that I did to break that up, send me an email, because we can have a Zoom meeting. And there are a couple of people from the other section who needed a little help. And I'm writing up just a short tutorial on the skills that you need in Photoshop to do that. Veronica.
I'm feeling pretty okay on Photoshop, but I had a question because you said next week we have a quiz, right?
Yes.
Was there a study guide at all? Because it says
no, there isn't. The study guide is, I promise that I'm going to go through the notes and the spotlights, and I'll pull any kind of questions from that. So is there a study guide? Yeah, the notes and the spotlight files. And it's going to be simple questions with short answers.
Okay.
All right, sound good? There's some vocabulary, things like that.
Okay.
It's not going to be, it's not going to be hard. I'll try to make it fun. As much fun as a quiz can be. I think that now that I'm on this side of the desk, it's a lot more fun to make tests than to take them. All right, that's it. If you have questions, stick around. If you don't have questions, you're free to go, and I will see you next week. Please chime in.
Goodbye, everyone.
Sounds good. Have a nice week.
Awesome.
Okay,
Thank you very
be
much.
sure to
Have a
send
good
an
one.
email if you've got any questions.
All right, sure thing. Later.
Jake? Nope. Okay. Yes.